Hey everyone, this is LuckySevenDX. Welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. In the last episode, we got a lot done. We did the Sand Sanctuary, got through the trials of the desert, and we are here now in the Sand Temple. Word of advice, leave those pots, because this is a pretty tough temple. It is the more puzzly sort of temple that every Zelda game sort of has. I would call this one the most puzzly sort of one. In fact, the item is going to be a unique item for once. Not very many unique items besides the whirlwind in this game and this item. Many, repeat, the dungeon stables. I guess the whip is unique too. Although it's similar to the, I guess it's not really that similar to the hookshot. But as you can see, there's really nowhere we can go. That crackable wall is not a bombable wall, so we can't do anything there. We need a key to get to the next floor, and over there is just there's a thing blocking us. So we only have to go through this crazy boulder maze. Just an expert maneuvering there. I'm surprised I got that one try, because that's a bit trickier than you think to do, especially with the touch controls. But you're gonna see a lot of puzzles like this. Boulders. Boulders are a very big theme in this one. You'll see why later on once we get the dungeon item. You'll get a more sense of why boulders are so important. But hey, it's a treasure chest. That was pretty easy. What? Just a one. Whoa! It's a trap. Oh, of course you saw it was a trap because whenever there's a door there, it's a trap. But luckily we have our bow out already, so bow makes easy work out of stealth. I was going to spam arrows, and well, I'm trying to get this one without the arrows and kind of fail. I'm gonna get hit by bones. Don't throw your bones at me. That's just rude. That's part of your body. I don't know where those bones have been. Can you just let me kill you, please? Let me kill you. Thank you. Easy peasy. Oh, he's survived. You know what? Screw it. No bow. Gonna kill my sword. Gonna kill my sword. Come on. Fight me. Fight me. I'm hitting the treasure chest instead. Come on, Link. Hit the skeleton. There we go. That wasn't too tough now, was it? Anyways. So, now that the trap's completely, we get the real treasure chest, which, as you guys can probably predict, is going to be the dungeon key. No, it's just a small key. Not getting that far ahead. Not getting the boss key yet. That'd be a bit awkward. Hey guys, it's a really hard dungeon. You get the boss key within the first 5 minutes. 2 minutes, actually. It's only been 2 minutes. By the way, this little spot right here, it's a trap. It's a trap. Also, I thought it'd be fine walking alongside that boulder, but you should never walk alongside boulders. They're not your friends. They are your enemies. They will stab you in the back. They might say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to roll alongside you. No, we're just going to be chill. We're going to be friends. But nope, they'll just freaking stab you in the back and roll over your dying body. Because that's what boulders do. They're just a bunch of jerks. Anyways, so we fall down here, and we find some new enemies. Now, we cannot fight these guys yet. As you're going to see in a second, I'm going to attack with my sword. And I'm actually going to take a hit doing that. But there's no way, we have no method of killing them yet. I don't know what they're called exactly. They're like sort of sand sort of enemies. Pretty cool looking enemies, but we can't do anything about them yet, like I said. So instead, we shall wake this guy up instead. And see if we can find some treasure chests, which as you're gonna see right now, there's just 2 of them, and they're up there. We can't access either of them yet, though. So we'll mark their positions since we're gonna be coming back to pick them up very soon. I guess this dungeon's sort of broken into 3, more like 2 sections, like a really quick early section, which was what we're doing, where we're going up the floors, and then the later section is going down the floors, because actually the things in the basement. You go up the floors and you get the dungeon item. So we have some new sort of stalfos here. I don't know the exact name of these stalfos, but basically they have swords instead of throwing bones at you, and they'll just bum rush you, and they take more hits. I don't know, they're like stalfos captains or something like that. They seem to have, they remind me of like pirate captains. Like they have like a weird hat. They sort of have like a very swashbuckling movement. Swashbuckling, that's a cool word. I need to say that more often. He swashbuckled all the way over there. Now it's a verb. It's not an adverb anymore, it's a verb. I don't even know how I used it before. I don't pay attention to my grammar, are you kidding me? We get the sand wand. Or the sand wand. Or the sand wand, I don't know. Kind of weird that sand and wand have, very similar letterings, but completely different pronunciations. Go English language, go. The plural of mouse is mice, but the plural of house is not heis. Anyway, now that we've actually got the sand, now I want to call it the sand wand from now on. I kind of want to do that, but now that we have the sand wand, sure, we're just gonna go up the sand wand. Think there will be a few more changes in the temple. In fact, going through these other floors, there's gonna be a lot of things that are be different. For starters, these things are all in sync now. So, if I haven't really demonstrated enough yet, as you can see, what this puzzle item does, because all the wands always are puzzle items, it raises up the sand below you until, pillars that you can walk on or use to block things, which is going to be the basic puzzle of this. Now, of course, this is really annoying because the sand only stays raised for a very short amount of time. Honestly, I really hate this puzzle item because, you have to take the time to go click on it, you have to drag your stylus around, you have to unclick it, then you have to walk over it, and you have a very short amount of time to do that. And to complicate that things is that you have to have a lot of very precise timing in order to get a lot of these puzzles to be complete to begin with. So you have a very imprecise timing for an item, and a very precise, having to solve very precise puzzles, which can complicate things, especially with the way I'm recording this. So if I completely bomb this temple, that's going to be why. But as you can see, we have to walk along those pillars, we have to freeze them using the sand wand. The sand wand! My goodness, this is going to plague me the entire next 2 episodes. But you have to freeze them with the sand wand, and then walk all over them. That's something we're going to be seeing a lot in this temple, and it gets really annoying really fast. But now we have the sand wand, we can actually attack these guys. Basically, you just keep the sand wand over them until they freeze in place. Then you can either slash them 3 times or throw them 3 times in order to kill them. Basically, once you get them frozen, they're pretty much dead. Although, after a while, they will get unfrozen, so make sure you're decently quick about going about it. But it gives you a pretty liberal amount of time to kill them. That word totally got away from me. And then I just let it get even more away from me, because that's what I do. You guys know that already. Anyways, but the cool thing is you can use the sand wand to basically raise up on platforms. These things are just going to get really annoying. At least this one's easy, because there's just one of them. When you have multiple ones of these things going around, that's when things just start to get really complicated. But all we need to do is see if I can get a little bit extra health back, but not really that much. I guess there's actually a shortcut now to get over to the other side via the sand over there. Sand, it's now a shortcut. How exciting. Anyways, back on floor 1, there's going to be a lot of changes to do over here. The best way to go about doing this is to head left first, because now that we have... Oh, actually, I guess what I can quickly do... Oh, there's also a treasure chest up here, I believe, which I should probably get. The camera angles get a little weird sometimes, because a lot of the puzzles involve, using the sand to move things around, so it sort of zooms out to accommodate that, but you might not necessarily be going for that puzzle at the moment. So it's sort of zooming out to accommodate something you're not trying to do, and thus hindering the thing you actually are trying to do, if that made any sort of sense. But what we can do now is we can actually use the sand to move boulders around, which is going to be a very important use of the sand wand. And then we can load it into this mechanism, which will launch it forward and break the door. And now because of that, we can access the downstairs, which we will do later. For now, we're actually also use the sand to move these pillars. So this entire puzzle, this entire dungeon, obviously is just going to be a lot of moving sand around. Moving around things with sand is very imprecise though, because you have to push it very specifically. And like I said, in general, the sand wand's not the most accurate item. I don't know why I did that. It just sort of happened. Oops. Oh well. Use the whip to get across. I haven't used the whip in a while. Good to see that there's still some use to that item. There should be. It's a good item. Unlike the whip in Skyward Sword, which I don't know if it's really spoilers at this point. It's been a couple of months, I guess. But I mean, and it was supposed to, it was announced in the beginning as a whip. But doesn't really. It's like the spinner from Twilight Princess. It just there's some items that just don't really get used much after the dungeon that has them in them, which is really a shame because there's some really cool items that they really could have done a lot with, and they just sort of cast aside later. Spirit Tracks at least doesn't. I mean, there's only 5 dungeons, so there's only 5 dungeon items to begin with, and the Whirlwind to extent is kind of cast aside, but the rest of the items for sure are definitely not. They all get a lot of use. So, and even then, the Whirlwind still gets a pretty decent amount of use compared to the usual castaway item. So, that's basically how it works. Anyways, annoying puzzle coming up here with the sand wand. We did see where the rest of the treasures are. As you saw, there was actually one on the right side. We'll have to come back to that up later, but there's actually a reason to go to the right side again in a little bit, because, well, like I said, once you get the sand wand, a lot of things change, and the entire right side actually changes significantly. This puzzle, though, I'm actually surprised I got this my first try, because this is a pain in the butt. You have to quickly raise yourself, quickly switch over the bow, hit the 2 top targets, and then hit the lower one before the sand crumbles underneath you and you fall back down, because you won't have enough time to bring it back up. It's a very short timer for that. So, kind of surprised I managed to do that, but keep in mind those eyes, because they'll actually be very important for another puzzle very soon. Now, what we need to do here, actually, is use this pillar to make it across this gap. The way you do this is you're supposed to bring it up here, not down here. That's not how it works. Okay, so we break the pillar up here. Come on. Very slow process. I guess you could also go to the little right there, but make sure you don't get crushed by it as well. You can actually get hurt by doing that. And then, yeah, I think this is going to be raised enough where I can bring it over from here, hopefully. Yeah, that should be good enough. Bring it over there. It'll make a nice little bridge across. it took me forever to realize that these are stairs. I thought those were just decoration, didn't realize that they're just little mini stairs, because usually the stairs are a little wider in this game, but no, they're actually mini stairs. You just walk across them. It's pretty simple and easy. So we go walk across this, and the reason you need to go over here is actually for a hint, for a puzzle for where a key is. You could completely skip this side of the area, and in fact, I actually ended up doing this in my practice run, because I was like, oh, you're supposed to come here to realize a puzzle. I knew that. But if you want to get a bonus treasure, just kill these guys and they'll actually reveal the treasure that we're looking for, if I remember correctly, which, yes, I do remember correctly. That's good. An elephant never forgets, and neither does Lucky, except for the times when he does forget, in which case I don't never forget. I kind of do forget at times. But that's okay, because that's just what happens when you are scatterbrained. I don't know. I don't know where this conversation was going. Once again, kind of got away from me. Anyways, we're heading up here. This is, like I said, remember the position of the eyes, because this puzzle up here is actually very key to finding the key. Very key to finding the key. I see what I did there. Between 1 and 3 of the key hides. Now this is referring, as you can see in the diagram, to the eye switches. So there's a section up over there that had 3. Looks like a 2. It's supposed to be a 3, but whatever, you get the picture. And there's the section up here that has 1 eye switch. So in between the 2 is where I marked that X. So the key is somewhere over there. So of course what we need to do now is head over there and find it, which we need to do by going across the entire right section all over again. So kind of cool this dungeon actually makes you redo a section of it with the sand wand now, and then changes things to accommodate the sand wand a bit better. Kind of interesting that it does that. I always do like it when they sort of recycle parts of the dungeon or parts of the game to accommodate new items and actually make continue to make a variety. Because as you can see now, the bowls are in a different pattern. They're a pattern which would be completely impossible for us to actually get past. I'm pretty sure it's impossible. And then I just completely screw that up, and that's not going to do us any good. Especially because that one safe zone is not a safe zone, it's actually a trap, so that doesn't help us at all. I just need to time this correctly, and you can get across just barely into there. So, using the sand wand to get past that, and then we're also going to use the sand wand to get past this. I'm going to quickly show off the in this nut, obviously, is a refill in the bow. It's a good idea to keep your bow stocked, so I'll just go and quickly grab 5 arrows. Because you are going to need to open up this switch once again. This time we actually need to use the sand wand, though, to clear the bowlers out of the way, so they're no longer moving. I'm not actually sure where the bowlers are coming from the first time. It doesn't really make sense where they would be coming from. I wasn't really paying attention to that. But just dump them in the pit, or just push them to the side, and whatever you want to do. Just get them out of the way, so you can get a clear shot of your bow, and that's just how you get past that part. Anyways, so, in here, we're not going to get ambushed, we're not going to be stuck in here, but there's actually going to be a new kind of enemy to fight, and these guys are annoying pricks. I hate these guys so much. What you have to do is, you see where they're about to come out. They're very reminiscent of the water versions that we saw back in the... Look, I hate the sand one. You fall a little hole, and you just can't get out, and it's just... it's such an annoying item to use at times. But you have to basically bring them out from using the sand wand, and then hit them before the sand recedes, which is just... It's such tricky timing. I wish the sand lasted for like 2 or 3 more seconds. Like, that would make things so much easier. It's the short time limit of the sand makes so many puzzles so much harder, especially because touch controls, I mean, they're good. The touch controls work. The problem with touch controls are that they often are very imprecise because they're not, button presses. They're not control presses. They're more, free-form, liberal sort of things, so you can't be as precise with touch controls necessarily. So you get run into situations where you just sort of screw things up more, and then making precise puzzles like this or enemies that require some precision to kill. I mean, sure, it's the last dungeon, but these enemies are more annoying than they are difficult. No more just like a roadblock, a waste of time, which, especially in terms of LPs, is just like, you don't want roadblocks, you don't want waste of time, that's just annoying. But get rid of it here. Now we need to find this key. So what we need to do is actually use, look at that, actually it's almost right next to it there. Use the sand wand, to bring the key out, and it's pretty simple to get from there. Link is surrounded by sand right there. Kind of a bit of an awkward key getting moment there. But we can actually use the sand wand to get over this barrier. Just remember, when there's a barrier like this, you can use the sand wand to get over it pretty easily. So don't worry about barriers when you have your wand with you. It just almost sounds kind of wrong. It does sound pretty wrong, actually, now that I think about it. Let's just move on from that. This other kind of sand, it's actually quicksand. You will sink into it if you fall on it. So basically use the sand wand to harden up a bit so you can get across it. That's going to start appearing a lot more, and it's going to get really annoying, especially in a section that's coming up in like a minute. But first, we actually have to use these guys for a puzzle, because, they use that a lot in Zelda games these days, hardening an enemy of some sort. I remember those like the stone choo-choos or the purple choo-choos in Wind Waker, where you had to use light to harden them up and then, you know, put them on switches. So very similar sort of concept here. You're basically using these guys as the switches. Obviously, as you're gonna see in a second, once they get off the switches, actually the thing will rise back up just like that, and you'll have to basically, you know, do it all over again. Now I'm gonna make a cut here because the first time I tried this, I failed massively, and basically, I just failed massively. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna cut and get some health back and try this again, because I was actually like almost about to die, because I died so many times. The trick for doing this that I figured out is you want to hold the wand under the sand block you are so it won't die, then quickly make, you know, a route across, and, you know, just take it in steps. Take it slow, take it easy. The only part you really need to go fast is the part with the arrows, because you can't obviously stand there. You can't do the sand wand while arrows are shooting at you. Go up here first, because this happens to be where the stamp station is. Stamp station number 19 out of 20. Almost there. Just the one in the Sand Sanctuary, which I said we'll be getting later. Try to be fast here with this. But yeah, I didn't realize, I didn't think actually if you held the sand, for some reason I didn't think if you held the sand wand down, it'd still crumble under you. As long as you're holding the sand wand down under you, the sand that you're on won't actually crumble, which is very useful for these sort of segments. Makes it a lot easier than actually having to run and time things a lot better. You know, it's not like the boomerang for the ice. I thought it was very similar to the boomerang for the ice, where you'd have to freeze the water, but you'd still have to go pretty fast because the water would eventually unfreeze. This, you can actually make it so the sand doesn't unfreeze. Now here, I do speed this up a little bit because, basically, this takes me a few tries. Like I said, the key is taking it slow, and I was not taking it slow. So after a few failures, basically, the way to go about doing this, just take it slow, make just baby steps, you know, get in front of the arrows, stomp, hold the sand wand down to make sure you're not going to fall in the thing, and then plan it out. Just go to the next one. Don't try to do it all at once. Just go to this one, hold this one down, plan, you know, get yourself all situated, and then just go, like this. And that's how you get across it. You know, just take your time, be patient. It's really hard to be patient at the sand wand because you have this sense of urgency of the sand breaking, but you have to be patient in order to get past these segments. This dungeon is all about patience, which is not necessarily the best virtue I have, but it's certainly, you know, there's puzzle dungeons, and the puzzle dungeons usually test your patience. That's what they try to do, pretty much. So, certainly the case here. Anyway, block puzzle. We're running pretty long the end of the episode. I actually finished it and then knocked it off. But these things, you basically insert the sharp part into the hole. Yeah, you insert things into the holes. Great. Lol, 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 lol. But and then it'll open up the door. The corresponding door, actually, there'll be times where there's red doors and blue doors, and to manipulate the blocks differently in order to show those. We'll see that example of that next episode. But one last puzzle before I end. The reason this episode is so long, we get so much so far into the dungeon in this episode. Let's just say the boss is going to take a while, and there's going to be cutscenes happening after this thing. So we're kind of doing most of the dungeon in this one. Then we'll finish up the tail end of the dungeon later and do that. And what you need to do here, although, which is something you're going to really want to remember later on for this temple, move the boulder onto the the shooting thing as usual, and then you have to use your bow in order to hit the switch because you have to actually be on that switch. But it's basically just sort of you can use the bow to launch these things from afar, sort of test, which is important. But first, we actually have to keep this thing down, though. We actually have to use that bridge, so we have to put a boulder on it. So just use your sand wand to manipulate it over there, and you can make it across. So this is that's it for this episode, guys. In the next episode, coming shortly, we shall finish up the Sand Temple, and crazy shenanigans, as usual, shall occur. See you later.